It is hard to put into words the challenges and hardships that everyone has faced this past year.
The COVID-19 pandemic and other significant troubles around our country and the globe have impacted each of us in different ways.
Some of us have lost jobs, income, or our livelihood.
Some have lost housing, struggled to provide food, or even experienced homelessness.
Some of us have faced deep depression, loneliness, and crippling fear.
And some of us have even lost loved ones.
While many of us have been apart over the past year and faced great struggles, we have also seen this community work together.
We have witnessed the community stand in the gaps to meet needs, share hope, and support each other.
We watched churches, businesses, our school district, and other organizations work together to ensure food was accessible to those in need.
We've seen sacrifices to offer others financial supports for rent, utility assistance, and to keep people housed.
We have observed community members praying for each other and checking in on one another through notes and phone calls.
We have been encouraged by volunteers who have shared the love of Jesus through mentoring and giving of their time.
We have seen unity through relationships, despite differences that can only be described as togetherness.
We know there's more work to do, but we are greatly impacted by this community's desire to make sure that no one goes unseen.
To ensure everyone in this community has access to resources.
To support local businesses and organizations.
To encourage teachers, police officers, community volunteers, and others to continue their great work.
Together, we can rally forward.
Juntos somos mejores.
Together, we are the Elenco community.
Whether you are watching this in person, at a local business, at home with your family or your small group, or at a local church location, welcome to CrossNet Ministries' annual banquet.
Good evening, friends, and welcome to the 20th annual CrossNet Ministries banquet. My name is Carl Edwards, the Director of Development here at CrossNet, and I'm going to be your Master of Ceremonies. I want to thank all of you for joining us, whether you are here live in person, or you are at home with family and friends, or you are at a local business, or you are at one of our church watch parties. A special shout out to CFC, Summit View, Weaverland Church, Bethany Grace, Zeltenreich, and Evangelical United Methodist. I'm not sure if you knew this, but there are over 700 people watching this event together. And I want to extend a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you to all of our sponsors, our board members, our staff, and volunteers who made tonight possible. For those of you who follow us on social media, I want to clear the air about something. There's been a little bit of a controversy taking place. Pre-COVID, I made a promise to all of you, our CrossNet friends and supporters, that I would go ice skating as a thank you for your support during the Extra Give some time ago. I need to clear the air about what's going on and what a video that was posted on social media this week. Yes, I did get on the ice. I did put skates on, but my friends, I was terrified. That is all this 300-pound man could muster up to do. I want to leave the ice skating to the professionals, and we have a professional with us tonight. I'd like to welcome Scott Hamilton to the Elenco community. Would you join me in welcoming him? Thank you. And I hope those of you who are watching live, whether on social media or the live stream link, I would encourage you all to clap with us as well. We also would love for you that are at home or watch parties to capture the special moments and the experiences that you all are having and post them on social media. We would encourage you and ask you to tag CrossNet Ministries in them and use the hashtag CrossNet so we can all share in your special memories. Most of you would have received a tote bag or on your tables or emailed to you some material so that we can all engage and follow along in the program that we have planned for you. The first thing I would like for you to pull out to follow along with is your programs, again, that are in your tote bags, on your table, or emailed to you. The second are these two stat sheets here. We're going to walk through these items a little bit later. Listed in your program are our sponsors for this evening, and I want to take a moment just to thank some of them. Thank you to all of our virtual platinum and virtual gold sponsors. And a special thank you to the following sponsors. Our title sponsor, Toyota New Holland. Our speaker sponsor, Earl and Verna Martin. And our VIP sponsors, Good Foods, Garden Spot Dental, Hirsch Painting, Meridian Products, and Brubacher Excavating. Please join me in thanking all of those businesses. As you know, this has been a year like no other. Like many of you, CrossNet has needed to make tweaks and change and adapt and pivot, not only how we do events like this, fundraising, our garden gala, but honestly, how we do our community programs. No, we may not be at Shady Maple this year, 1,600 strong, with an evening banquet and a breakfast banquet, but my friends, we are still together. Together, we have accomplished some amazing things in the name of Jesus. CrossNet Ministries exist to offer help and hope in the name of Jesus by empowering people within our Elenco community. We believe at CrossNet that is a twofold mission. First, we seek to build resources in the lives of individuals and families so that they can live sustainable lives but with dignity. Second, we seek to form relationships with people so that they can pursue and encounter the love of Christ. That is why we do what we do. How we live that out is through 4 program areas or 4 pillars. We serve youth, we have food and nutrition, we have community outreach programs, and we also have social services. Our programs include a weekly food pantry that help fight against food insecurity. We have case management that helps provide care and appropriate resources for individuals. We have a youth center that is open multiple nights a week to connect students with safe adults so they can encounter the love of Jesus. And we have tangible events like backpack giveaways and winter coat drives that provide tangible resources into the lives of families. As you may know, our theme for tonight is togetherness. In a year where we were often distant and not able to be together as friends and families, I believe that theme still popped through. To be honest, to me, togetherness means unity. It means oneness. It means a grander mission. Yes, there are things that do divide us. And I'm sure as you think about them, there are things that have actually divided us. Yet, there is a common entity that brought all of you here live and all of you watching at home together. And that's to help CrossNet raise some money, right? This is a fundraiser, isn't it? Yeah, No? Yeah, it's a fundraiser. Okay, yeah. I'm just kidding. In all seriousness, the common entity that brought us together is a genuine desire to love our neighbor, right? That lines up with who we are. As I mentioned, you have some stat sheets that look like this on your tables, that were emailed to you, or that are in your tote bags. Did you know that CrossNet Ministries continued to serve? We were open and operated during this COVID-19 pandemic. Yes, it looked a little bit differently with masks and social distancing, but our mission remained the same. On those pages, we highlight and we celebrate a year of God's faithfulness. We celebrate a community coming together to see and to meet needs. We celebrate each of you. If you look down at those pages and on those sheets, you'll see some numbers pop out. You'll see some statistics that pop out, and I just want to read a few of them to you. 769 individuals received case management in 2020. I'll say that number again. 769 individuals received case management in 2020. During this COVID-19 season, I remember hearing of a story from our social workers. We had a family experiencing homelessness in our community. And during this season, this family actually celebrated 1 year of being housed. And my friends, when many of us celebrate an anniversary, right, or we celebrate a success in our lives, what do? We go out to dinner or we buy our favorite ice cream. But guess what this family did? This family met with our social workers and actually created a new budget because they wanted to continue to grow their resources and be wise stewards of what they were given. Continuing, 500 participants came through our food pantry every single month. Because of this pandemic, there were numerous families that actually reached out to CrossNet that haven't before because of some of the needs that were there due to COVID-19. My friends, there are 285 youth registered that attend our youth center programs during the course of the year. We also have 32 active mentor matches happening right now in our community, where individuals are connected to other individuals in our community for safe relationships to grow and to learn together. And finally, just a few months ago, in the building right on the other side of this wall, 550 kiddos received Christmas gifts. One of the things I thought was very special and eye-opening about that event is we actually had our participants, someone who received Christmas gifts for that event, give up her time and volunteer during the Christmas gift giveaway. That's special. It's a community coming together to see and to meet needs. As I look at the stat sheets, as you look at the stat sheets, I hope that you see togetherness. I believe that is what togetherness looks like. My friends, I believe this is what the Elanco community looks like. At this portion of our evening, I have the honor and the privilege to introduce you all to our executive director, Meredith Dahl. Meredith has served as the executive director at CrossNet for 13 years. Meredith is passionate about seeing communities come together for life-changing impact. But before Meredith comes to the podium, I would love for you to take a look at the screen as we highlight some of those CrossNet programs. And please note, this video was filmed prior to COVID-19.
CrossNet Ministries exists to offer help and hope in the name of Jesus Christ by empowering people through relationship and self-sustainability. With a poverty rate close to 50%, we believe community collaboration is essential in making an impact for individuals and families in the Elanco School District. Our 4 program pillars include youth, food and nutrition, social services, and community. CrossNet's youth pillar is focused on providing safe spaces for children to learn, have fun, build resources, and experience the love of God. Teens have access to our youth center 4 nights a week, regular Bible studies, quarterly events, and warm meals during programming. Our mentor program, free tutoring, and Cross Junior provides additional opportunities to meet the specific needs of youth in our community. In addition, CrossNet partners with Community Action Program for Parents as teachers, where staff make home visits and work with parents of preschoolers to help children learn and thrive as they prepare for kindergarten. CrossNet's nutrition programs are low-barrier opportunities to ensure all individuals and families have access to food and healthy living. CrossNet offers a client choice food pantry, weekend food solutions through Power Packs, and the free summer lunch program available weekdays, June through August. CrossNet's community pillar establishes outreach opportunities that build resources for youth and adults. This includes our backpack, winter coat, and Christmas gift giveaways, collaborations, adult mentoring, and community meals. Together, we can address the concerns within our community and get better together. CrossNet's final pillar, social services, provides supportive and caring environments for those in need of assistance. Using bridges out of poverty concepts, CrossNet offers case management and support related to utility assistance, transportation, financial guidance, money management workshops, and housing. Cross Cares, designed to meet physical needs like diapers, provides additional support. Our housing initiatives focus on both short and long-term support, including the 18-month Pathways to Housing program and permanent housing with dedicated case management support and affordable solutions. Transportation is offered in partnership with the Kiwanis Club to adults and children requiring access to healthcare and educational appointments. With your support, partnership, and collaboration, lives will be impacted through relationship and resources as we experience a stronger and more united community together.
It's so great to be with all of you this evening, whether you're in person here or you're at home or you're at a local business or church. Thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to hear from CrossNet Ministries and hear stories and updates. Thank you so much, Carl, for kind of giving you a recap of what 2020 has looked like. As you guys all know, 2020 was not a year that we could have prepared for or predicted. It was a year that shaped many of our stories. I'm sure if you think back, it shaped part of your story and your life this past year. It's been a year of rest for some, unrest for many, and there have been a lot of stories of heartache and struggle. Since it's March, and it's been about a year since the pandemic started, I don't know if you've spent time reflecting on the past year and stories that you've heard from friends or family members or coworkers. But we've recently kind of spent some time reflecting on stories we've heard. I've sat and listened to a lot of stories this past year from friends and family and others in the community. Some of those stories have been taking time to learn a new skill, learn a new hobby. There's people who've learned to bake and knit and run. And then there's some stories that include people in retirement communities who've just ached and longed to hold their loved ones. There have been stories of people who've slowed down from the busy and the hurriedness of life, and they spend time reading or listening to podcasts, and they've enjoyed that slower time. And then there's been those in our community who've unexpectedly lost loved ones. I've heard a lot of stories of people who've worked on their house, and they got to that long to-do list because there's been time to do it. And then I've also sat and listened to the stories of those in our community who've experienced homelessness. And even recently, I was sitting with some businesses who have had great success during the pandemic, and then have sat with those who really struggled to bounce back or have had to lay off staff. So many stories ranging from just joy and then to heartache. Each story is so incredibly important. And I'm sure if you think back on your story, you can think of some of these things. Maybe you've experienced some joy and maybe some of the heartache. But there are two things that just repeated in every story that I think about, and every story that I heard, two things. The first is that every story included a need for some relationship. There was a need for a parent or a friend or a coworker or a child, people wanting to be together, need for relationships. And then the second thing, it just seemed that community showed up in some way. People shared how community brought hope, showed hope, and was hope in some of the darkest of times. Relationships and community seemed to thrive despite not always being together in person. We have seen that at CrossNet Ministries over and over again this past year. While it was one of the most challenging years of constantly having to pivot and change and make decisions, we also saw community and relationships thrive more than I think I've ever seen here in this community. Relationships and community still meant togetherness. At CrossNet this past year, I saw the community come together to donate food more than any other year in the past. Over 100,000 pounds of food was donated back to help people in our community. We saw businesses fill in the gaps when there were financial needs. We were constantly getting gift cards dropped off to give to families. We even had a business purchase everything off of our Amazon wish list just to make sure all the resources were here. We saw mentors and tutors and other volunteers find ways to connect, dropping stuff off at each other's houses, praying with each other over the phone, just doing anything they could to have relationship. We just saw this community continue to come together. I want to thank everybody because CrossNet was able to stay open since last year. We were able to keep all of our staff on payroll, and we're able to continue to serve all of our programs. While things look differently with drive-thrus and masks and social distancing, we continue to be able to serve. And I think about our community, I think about every single person here. I think about how important every person is in our community to make it how special and unique it is. We need each person for change. We need each person for stories. We need each person to continue to build the community the way we hope to see it to be. I was recently playing the game Jenga with my 5-year-old son. He loves Jenga. He's super competitive. I don't know where he gets that from, but he just, loves Jenga, and he never wants the building or the tower to fall, even if it's me, if I'm the one playing. He wants to keep the tower. And if you don't know Jenga, it's basically a building game. You take turns, gotta be careful here. You take turns taking a piece off of the building and then building up the tower. And one night, he was taking the pieces off, and he looked at me and said, "Mom, every single one of these pieces is so important. We need it to keep this building standing tall." And the way he said it with such conviction, I just kept thinking about, if you know my son, he's very funny but very serious about things. He wanted to make sure that this building stood tall, and it reminded me of this community. I thought about each person that's a volunteer or a mentor or a tutor or a donor or a business partner, whoever they are, to keep this community moving forward. Despite a global pandemic, despite COVID-19, we continue to build, we continue to move forward, we continue to press on because of every single person. And for that, I cannot thank you enough. The stories that we've gotten to listen to of lives changed continue to spur me on, and I hope that it continues to spur you on. You all have a small Jenga game at your table, or if you purchase a ticket, it's in your bag, and you can take that home with you tonight to just remember the importance that we feel each one of you are. You make up CrossNet, you make up this community, you make up the change and the difference. Stories are what's most important and have been so encouraging and exciting as I think back on this last year. I want to introduce you to one of those stories, and I want to introduce you to Edbert. Take a listen to Edbert's story.
I was living with my mom in New Holland. Then her boyfriend and me didn't get along, and there was then some confrontation. I left the house because I didn't feel safe. I had to provide for myself for a little bit. I did not have a job. Had to find out where I could eat, where I could sleep.
Eber is a great kid. He would just be shy, just kind of stay to himself, play basketball, eat, just do his thing. But last year, I did find out that Eber was having some conflict at home and that he had moved out of his mom's house. I noticed he wasn't going to school either, which was just some major red flags. So I confronted him about it and just kind of talked with him and knew that we needed to make some changes quickly.
Having a place like the youth center was very helpful for me because I was always happy there. Even though the situations that happened, I was always happy there. Always could be.
When I found out that Eber was homeless, I talked to Joan Uniger, who is our social services director, and just kind of asked her, do we have a home for this young man, at least for the next year until he graduates? The community has been great and they're very supportive of CrossNet and all we do, but I knew that that was a big ask. But she kind of brainstormed with me, and we thought about the Weavers. They're great supporters of CrossNet and a great family. So I asked.
I had known Edbert a little bit at the youth center. We played basketball and we talked about it, and we have an open bedroom, and we thought it just seemed like the right thing to do, and to open our home to him, and it's been good.
We came to visit the Weavers. They're very welcoming. They're very accepting. I've been living here for about a year now. I like them. They're loving, caring. They teach me a lot of new things about responsibility and becoming a man.
God has been faithful through this. It's just been a great relationship, getting to know Edbert, and He eats meals with us sometimes, and we try to incorporate him into family life. And I know he went on one vacation with us, and occasionally we played a little basketball together, so that was good too. Just thankful that we can be hopefully a steadying influence in his life during these years.
When we asked Edward to live with the Weavers, we kind of made a plan for him to graduate, get a job, save money, save for a car, and he has done all those things. He is much more confident than he used to be, and I'm just really proud to see what he has accomplished, and I know that he has so much more potential to continue to do more as he gets older.
Shanice, she always wanted to help. She always looked out for me, always cared. And I love what she did for me. I can never repay her.
CrossNet would not be what it is today without the support of the community and just the mindset of so many people in the community to just love their neighbor as themselves. So I'm very thankful for the Weavers and so many others that have supported so many students and families in this community.
CrossNet cared about me, very accepting. They don't care where you come from, color skin you are, and they're there for you.
I hope you enjoy listening to Edbert's story. We are just so grateful for Edbert and the Weavers and Shanice willing to share their story with us tonight. So thank you to you guys for being willing to do that. He's still on a journey, as we all are, and God is still moving and working in his life and his family's life. So you can continue to pray for Edbert and for the Weavers. That's just one story in our community, and I hope that it shows that it takes so many different people and different resources to come alongside people that could use some extra support in a difficult time. As we look into 2021, there are three kind of areas of focus that we are focusing on right now. The first is we want to continue to see stories of life change like that happen. So we are making sure that our programs are safe for our participants and our volunteers and doing what we need to do to keep them running and operating. Secondly, this year, we are looking to hire a new staff position, a success coach. We are partnering with local businesses and employer resource network to walk alongside people in their employment, because we know that one stable job for someone can really make the difference of them moving out of poverty. So we're really looking forward to that new initiative happening this spring. And lastly, we are focused on expanding our program, Pathways to Housing. Pathways to Housing is a 12 to 18-month housing program for people experiencing homelessness right here in our community. I'm excited to share that we recently purchased a property that gives us 8 additional units for Pathways to Housing, and so we're incredibly excited to be able to have more apartments available for people right here in the Elanco School District. Take a look at your screens. You're going to watch a little bit more about Pathways to Housing.
A person experiencing homelessness in Elanco could look a couple different ways. The one that's obvious to everyone is the person that doesn't have a place to sleep other than their car. Some people have been sleeping on park benches, but another is doubling up or couch surfing, and that would be where maybe someone who lost their home or needs a home ends up in someone's house, all intended to be temporary. And sometimes it is. Sometimes it's just a little bit of time so that they can figure out what to do. Oftentimes it turns into long-term. And when I say long-term, a year more. And that puts people at risk for a lot of different reasons.
My family and I faced a housing challenge because we were living with my parents in a 3-bedroom house with 10 people. I have 2 boys, ages 10 and 13. I reached out to a couple places to rent, and nobody would rent to me because of my credit.
Right now, there's a very big need for housing in Elanco. The apartments or housing that does come up is very expensive. And also if you're finding an apartment and it's with a property manager, they typically need a score of 650, and that's not a score that a lot of the people we're working with have.
Pathways to Housing is a 12 to 18-month program for people in our community who are experiencing homelessness. Currently, we have 1 apartment in partnership with Trinity Lutheran Church, and we have 2 apartments in partnership with Petra Church, and we recently purchased a property that has 8 additional units.
Pathways to Housing is a program that will give families a safe place to work on things, to build their resources so that at the end of this time, they will be able to find their own apartment. They'll be able to pay market rent. And now they have CrossNet to be a good reference. We try to open up all the doors if there's counseling, if they want money management, if they want to learn about family programs, just anything to get connected in the community to build their resources.
I love living where we're at right now. My kids really like it. It's really a lot of space compared to what we were living in before. I have begun the Getting Ahead program, and that's really helping me because there's a lot of different things that go into managing your money, finding housing, and I'm learning how to budget my money, and I never did that before. So I'm extremely grateful for everything I'm learning through the Pathways program. Not very many people were willing to give me a chance, and CrossNet was actually willing to give me a chance.
Thank you for taking a moment to learn a little bit about Pathways to Housing. We are incredibly excited about this opportunity to expand the program. In February, we purchased that property, and we were able to purchase it with zero debt, with incurring zero debt, which is a huge blessing. We're able to do that because of the community and donations that came in from our Brick by Brick campaign in 2019, and also to the Clark Associate Foundation and the Benner Gross Cup Bequest Fund with St. John's UCC. So we're incredibly excited to have this facility and this property. We are currently working on a renovation plan that we hope to have out later this spring so you can learn more about getting involved in Pathways to Housing. Those are kind of 3 of our areas that we're focused on this year, and we are excited to continue to share more ways that you can get involved and more ways to partner with CrossNet Ministries. As we kind of been sharing, that community and relationships have thrived this past year. And I want to invite you into journeying along with us as we continue to build in our community. Whether that's as a mentor or a volunteer or helping with the transportation ministry or praying with us or being a donor or a partner in another way. You might already be along the journey, so I would just encourage you to continue along with us. And if you aren't, I would just ask you, what is your piece? What is your piece to be involved right here in the Elanco School District and in this community?
My friends, I would like to invite all of you to be a part of the CrossNet story. CrossNet fully relies on the community for its funding. It takes businesses, churches, individuals to step in the gaps and meet specific needs. You may all have seen in your program our CrossNet Ministries budget. Our 2021 budget is $954,000. And after 3 months, we have received $230,000 towards that goal. This budget includes program growth and expansion and new programs like housing, like Meredith mentioned, our transportation ministry, and hiring a new social worker. That leaves us with a remaining balance of $724,000. And your donation tonight can make a significant impact into helping us reach that goal. Most of you have on your tables or in your tote bag or emailed to you a card that looks like this one. On this card, it outlines and gives you specific ways that you can financially give to CrossNet Ministries. The first one is being able to mail a check or cash to CrossNet Ministries, and there are return envelopes provided for you. You can also scan the QR codes on that card, and that will send you directly to a link to be able to swipe a credit card or add a bank account to that. Using a QR code is super simple. You can simply pull out your phone, open your camera, hover your camera over that code, and it'll open the link directly for you. And lastly, CrossNet Ministries has a Venmo. So if you have a Venmo account, that QR code is also provided for you. You can scan that and you can give directly to that link or search CrossNet in your account. You can even make your gift tonight, you can even make your donation a recurring gift. We believe that recurring gifts are the lifeblood of our organization. It helps CrossNet implement programs with confidence, knowing that funding is going to be there. If I can be honest with you, my friends, we want to see more people housed in our Pathways to Housing program. We want to continue to fight against food insecurity. We want to see more stories like Edbert's. And more importantly, we want to continue advancing the gospel mission in the Elanco community. Again, I want to invite you to be a part of the CrossNet story. As Meredith mentioned, we all play a significant part. And the question is what piece, what role will you be in the building and the tower of this community? I'll give you a moment to interact with that giving card. Friends, thank you so much for your consideration. Thank you for your partnership here at CrossNet Ministries. We've had a special evening. Thank you again to those that are here in person, those of you who are hosting watch parties at your business, at your home, or at local churches. We were able to hear transformative stories of life change, and we were challenged by an uplifting message by Scott Hamilton. I believe that God is at work in the Elanco community, and I continue to be humbled to serve alongside of each one of you. I hope that you all have an amazing night. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good one.